Eagle family, and welcome to a very special episode of the Eagle Exchange. I'm Chancellor Carrie G. Dixon, and I'm honored to host today's conversation in celebration of Women's History Month. March is a time to recognize the strength, leadership, and lasting contributions of women across every industry and generation. In higher education, women continue to break barriers, shape institutions, and lead with vision and purpose. In honor of Women's History Month, we are bringing together an extraordinary panel of leaders from across the UNC system, women who are serving at the highest levels of higher education and making a collective impact across our state. I'm joined today by Chancellor Bonita Brown from Winston-Salem State University, Chancellor Kimberly van Noort from UNC Asheville, Chancellor Kelli Brown from Western Carolina University, and Chancellor Heather Norris from Appalachian State University. Together, we'll explore leadership, representation, and the power of women leading with purpose within the UNC system. So it is wonderful to have some amazing women leaders of the public UNC System universities. I just thank our women chancellors for being here during this Women's History Month. So first, let's just get started by talking about what is it like, or what significance would you all note as, how does it, significance around women serving as chancellors and you being in this seat? Because only we know what it feels like to be in this seat. But at this moment in higher education, how does it feel for you as a female leader? I'll start with Chancellor Brown.
Thank you for that question. It is still a surreal moment to me. Again, I grew up, my higher education experience was in the UNC system at a time where there were only male chancellors. And so I had never really seen a female chancellor or president. And when they got one, I was just amazed. I would find myself researching her, following her to see how she managed and how she navigated. And to see 5 of us on the screen, it's just phenomenal. And I think visually it's astonishing when people see it and realize that that's the case. I think other females across the nation who are looking at female leadership, I think they're watching the UNC system and they're looking at the 5 of us sitting here and they're following our trajectory. So I think we're trendsetters. I think we are leading at pivotal moments. And I think it's just the female power that I think is interesting in this seat.
When you think about your leadership and leading UNC Asheville, how do you kind of think about your career in that way?
Well, times they are changing, as Bonita said. It might be that percentage now, but it certainly wasn't 10 years ago, and it certainly wasn't 20 years ago when I was coming up through the ranks of administration. And so everything that we're doing and everything we're seeing with more women chancellors, more women leaders across our senior executive levels, almost my entire senior executive team now are women. And I think the most important thing that we are doing right now is we are setting the model. We are being role models for the young men and women, the young women and men coming after us, that these positions are open to all, and that women are as successful, if not sometimes more so, in these roles of leadership. And I think that's going to really tip the corner. We're seeing increasingly the numbers of women being more and more represented in higher education. And I think that the upper levels are beginning to reflect that. I hope so.
Yes, I definitely agree with you. And as we think about, I am looking at social media all the time. And I have to say that all of us are representing who we are as leaders of our institutions through social media on various channels. And it is very evident to me that we love our jobs. We love what we do. We love our students. And Chancellor Brown, Kelli Brown, you are one who I see all the time with this big smile on your face, out there with the faculty, the students, the staff. So how do your personal values influence the way you lead Western Carolina and the support that you show your students, faculty, and staff. I see that all the time when I'm following you on social.
Thank you for following me. That's really great. Now I know I've got one follower, so thank you, Chancellor Dixon. Well, what I would say is, I just love what I do. I love the role of the university, our regional comprehensive university. I love the students that we have, and I think that's my values, right? I mean, thinking about being able to provide students the access to an institution to be able to get a degree. That's what I want to do. I myself am not first generation, but I see the value in that. My husband is first generation, so I know the value for that. And to be able to talk to students, to be able to go out and meet with them where they're at and learn from them really is something that is exciting every day. So get to do that with faculty and our staff and our alumni, our community members, really helping to engage them in what the university does. So that's part of my values, being right where the community is. It's part of my background and my public health background. So I really do value that and try to embrace that as I are able to advocate and be a cheerleader, as we all are.
Right, we all are, yes.
Institutions, we're all cheerleaders.
Yes, thank you, thank you. And Chancellor Norris, we were able to celebrate you most recently out of the 5, as you were installed as the chancellor at Appalachian State University, and we were all there to cheer you on. So as you think about things that you do that represent your leadership at the executive level that also influence campus culture and student success, what are some of those examples or some of the things that you live by when you think about the impact that you make on the campus culture and student success at ASU? App State, sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah. Well, I appreciate this group and being part of this panel. And, I would just say with my whole heart, I am committed to honoring App State's founders' legacy of access to education, academic excellence, and student success, both because I love being a part of it and because I know it matters so enormously. For all the rapid changes and increasing complexities in our society, I'd never lose sight of higher ed's enduring role as a place where people come to find a sense of direction, a sense of purpose, and really a sense of belonging. I believe to my core that our students will thrive to the exact degree that we care about their thriving. And by far the best thing about this university and this university system is that everybody that we work with does more than just work.
Right.
Regardless of their job titles or duties, our faculty and staff show up for our students. And I would say that's true of all of our institutions and why I love being part of this UNC system.
Great, thank you. And Chancellor Van Noort, coming back to you, how do you think women leaders are shaping the future of higher education?
Oh, that's a really interesting question. I think we are opening opportunities. I really think that what is happening right now, as we see more and more women in leadership in higher education, is going to forever change the complexion of the profession and of higher education in general. I think all of the values that all of you have expressed are not necessarily women specific, but they certainly are values that we are bringing to the table. And that in and of itself is changing our institutions and by extension, other institutions as well. And I think everything that we do every day that transforms our students is making that difference and is going to really become evident, especially as Chancellor Norris mentioned, these times are incredibly complex. And they require very, very high levels of innovation and entrepreneurship and really creative thinking about almost everything. And our ability to do that, model that, and make that priorities for our institutions, I think is going to have a huge impact.
Definitely. I agree with that. And as we think about this being Women's History Month and, the progress that we have made, and I know in today's time, us, women, we're still becoming first at things, even with it being 2026. And as we continue to make sure that the pipeline of progress and opportunity is available for women, what do you think about, or what are you most encouraged by when you think about that and all the possibilities ahead And I'll ask Chancellor Bonita Brown to answer that one.
Absolutely. I think it's a great opportunity. I find that being the first permanent chancellor at Winston-Salem State University, it has a cachet. When I walk in the room, it's particularly with young ladies, you can see their eyes light up and they have instant questions. And they just want to talk to me about that experience. What does that feel like? What does it mean? And so I think this is our opportunity to share those stories, to share those experiences, to inspire people and encourage people. I find when I see talent, particularly in a young lady, I will point it out. I said, I see you. You have something there. Why don't you build on
Right.
that? And you have no idea what that does for someone who probably likely has an imposter syndrome. And some of that's from their race, whether it's from their race or for their gender, they need someone to see them. And I think being a female in this position, it gives me more leverage. It gives me a platform to really have more of those conversations, to identify and groom talent, and to push forward this next generation. And I feel privileged to be able to do that.
Yes, and we celebrate you for being the first permanent woman to lead Winston-Salem State University. So yes, definitely, you are making your mark, and we are so proud of you in that way. And I'll ask Chancellor Kelli Brown, because I believe you are the longest standing female chancellor in the UNC system right now. What experiences most informed your leadership philosophy as chancellor?
Well, thank you for that. And I think, I just want to follow up just a little bit on what Bonita just said, because I think it's really important that we've got so many women, but the authentic women that we have in these roles, I think is really important for the young women to see today. Bonita talked about when she walks into a room and what these young women are thinking. All of us, I think, show ourselves in different ways, but we're all great leaders, right? And I think that's what's so important for young people to see, that you can be yourself. You don't have to be something else, and you can be yourself. And I think that's what all of us do. And I see it in each and all of you. When you think about the experiences, I've been very blessed with having doors open for me, but also those doors, I could have not taken those opportunities, right? And I think that's one thing for people to see, the experiences. So I've had some really great experiences. I've had some experiences that I have failed at, that I have learned tremendously from in my past experiences in higher education. So I think taking opportunities when they're offered to you, at the same time also being willing to fail and learning from those failures. And I have those. I've been in higher ed now for 45 years. And so I've had both opportunities as well as failures. And I think that's also what's important to share with young people today, both men and women, to take advantage of those opportunities and failures that you have, those experiences that will help you learn and grow as being a leader.
I definitely agree with that. And I don't know if any of the other chancellors want to hone in on that question as well, but you're right. Preparation is key. Opportunities, taking those opportunities and being prepared for when that door opens. When that door opens, be ready to walk, and being ready to take on that next step, whatever that may be in leadership, is critical as well. But does anyone else want to add anything to what Chancellor Brown just mentioned?
I will. I think that's so true. And, I'll share that the very first time a door opened for me to go into administration, it took me a long time to think through that and really make that decision, because I loved what I was doing. I was in the classroom with students every day, which was just such a joy for me. And the thought of trying something new, doing something new that I didn't fully understand felt like a big risk to me. And I finally woke up in the middle of the night one night and thought, this is a low risk proposition, because I know I love being a faculty member and I can always be a faculty member. And so I should try this. And if it's not something that fits for me or for the institution, I still have that love of teaching and learning, and I can do that. But what I learned by taking the opportunity was, and all of the roles that we play now and the ones that got us to where we are, we're changing lives for the better. We're serving students in bigger ways, and we're supporting the people who are in those classrooms with our students every day. So it really isn't a shift in service of what we're doing. It's just a different way of doing it. And so I agree with you, Chancellor Brown. It took me less time each time I had that door open to say, yeah, let's try that.
Right. That's right. So for that listener we have right now out there who is in middle management or has a goal or dream, aspirations to become a chancellor one day, what type of advice would each of you give her, for her to be thinking about as she thinks about, preparation and being ready to walk through that door and sit in this seat that we all have right now? Because one day we're going to retire. So we want to make sure this, pipeline is strong and ready to, sit in this seat and lead our great universities just as we are. So in a sentence or two, would each of you just provide some insight to this person who's listening on what it is that's most important for them to be thinking about right now? And I'll start with Chancellor Kelli Brown, and then we'll go from there.
I think just in a sense, I think presence. I think being present, I think is really important. Being present on your campus, showing up, letting people know that you have an interest, I think is one of the key things that someone can do if they have an interest in higher education leadership. So being present and showing up.
Wonderful. Chancellor Norris?
Yeah, I agree with that. And I would also say there are so many opportunities to show leadership and inside and outside of a formal title. Mm-hmm. And so finding those mentors, serving your fellow students or peers in the roles that you're in now, and just doing some shadow experiences with the roles that you aspire to.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Chancellor Bonita Brown?
I often tell people to build your toolkit. Collect experiences, serve on committees, go to conferences, do your research, have as much intel as you can, because you never know when that could become useful when you're in a leadership role. It also network and make connections. But that tool belt, I think that's my biggest piece of advice, because being in this chancellor seat, you have to manage everything. And so you never know, an experience you think is obscure is going to be front and center in front of you one day. So just collect those experiences and learn from those.
That's right. And Chancellor Van Noort?
Bonita, you stole mine. It's being realistic about what you know and what you don't know, and finding those opportunities to learn about athletics, to learn about advancement, to learn about what happens. I was a French professor. I ran our institutional research board. I had no idea what I was doing, but I learned so much about what happens in other units on campus. And also really, really, really know your why. Know why it is you're doing what you're doing, and make that your touchstone. Because if you have that grounding, people are going to recognize that. They're going to recognize that you are doing this for a very specific reason and for the right reasons. And as long as you keep that first and foremost and let people see that through a million different experiences, never say no to a committee assignment or a search committee. Search committees are incredible ways to learn about leadership. And so all of those opportunities to build that toolkit, and then to be able to and be ready to walk through that door when it opens.
Yes, I think definitely great advice. So thank you all. But now I'm going to put you on the spot for a very, very tough question. Very tough. I told you this was going to be easy, but it's going to be a tough question here. My last question is, how do you approach work-life balance? Go ahead and say, because I will confess, I do not do a good job with that at all. And I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to, navigate, as we've said, many of you have said, we are busy people. Like, this is a big job 24/7. And sometimes it is hard to break away and, just have some time for yourself. But I know it's things that we need to do. I mean, we definitely need to do that and be able to do that and feel okay about doing that. But any advice for me on how to balance that much better than I think I have been, honestly?
Well, obviously, Carrie, we've all failed at it to some extent.
Right.
And I try to, everyone thinks, okay, I need to spend more time with my family, and that's
right.
True. But I've also found that you need to spend more time with yourself.
Exactly.
And so cultivate an old hobby. Pick up something you haven't done for a while, or maybe a new hobby. I went back to my love of baking sourdough bread.
Ah,
I carve out times on the weekends when I'm sorry, I have to be here with my stretch and folds.
right.
And I also am known to have a jigsaw puzzle going at all times.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Yes, yes. That's great. Great advice. Anything else? Anyone else?
Yeah,
I love a jigsaw puzzle over the holidays.
There
That's
you
my
go.
one time of the year. I do my jigsaw puzzles.
Yes.
yeah, I haven't been very successful at that. I'm working on that. But I have a love of music. And so I have definitely curated my music catalog, and I brought some nice headphones so I can listen to my music. And the other thing that I'm trying to do is, like, I love live music. So when a concert comes around that I'm interested in, I go ahead and book it, pray I can make it, and try to do my best to show up. I just went to one last month, and it just did my soul good. I'm ready to go now.
Please,
for a
please
little while
tell
longer.
me. Please tell me it was New Edition.
You know exactly that's who it was.
Look, I know Chancellor Brown and we have a love for New Edition, so I knew it had to be that.
You know
That's
it
the
was.
concert she went to. But that's great advice as well. And
That's great.
anything, Chancellor Norris, did you mention? Now I've heard now in the western part of the state. So this is for UNC Asheville and App State. I heard you all have amazing spas there. Yes, in Western Carolina too. So do you take advantage of any of the spa days or anything if you can fit it in?
so I was going to follow up. Oh, I'm sorry, Kim. I was going to follow up with Kim said, just downtime by yourself. And so that's one of the things that I try to do is days just for me. I block them up and it says my day. I call it my wellness day. And it could be a Saturday, Sunday, or maybe during the week, but it's my wellness day. I try to do some of that, but even if I'm just at home, but I do take advantage of it. I try to go out of the area so no one knows me. I don't want to be the chancellor getting my facial.
Yes.
I want to be a person who's just relaxing.
Yes.
And Chancellor Van Noort and I have talked about that a little bit. So, yes.
Well, that's great. I appreciate all of the advice that you have given me, as well as to our listeners today. Thank you all so much for taking time out of your busy schedule and being a part of the Eagle Exchange podcast and letting us celebrate each and every one of you during Women's History Month, which is this month. And I just appreciate being colleagues with you all. I call you my sister chancellors. And it's just a great bond to have as we continue to work together to lead our great institutions within the UNC system. So thank you all again.
Thank you.
What an inspiring and powerful conversation. I want to extend my sincere thanks to Chancellor Bonita Brown, Chancellor Kimberly van Noort, Chancellor Kelli Brown, and Chancellor Heather Norris for sharing their insights, experiences, and commitment to advancing higher education across North Carolina. As we celebrate Women's History Month, may we continue to uplift the voices of women, invest in future leaders, and recognize the transformative impact of women serving in leadership. And before we close, I want to remind our Eagle family that we are less than 3 weeks away from North Carolina Central University's 2026 Day of Giving on April 7th and 8th. This 24-hour giving event is dedicated to supporting our students, programs, and continued growth of NCCU. To learn more and to make your gift, please visit give.nccu.edu. To our Eagle family and viewers across the UNC system, thank you for joining us for this special Women's History Month edition of the Eagle Exchange. Be sure to follow North Carolina Central University on all social media platforms for more episodes and stories highlighting the people and partnerships moving our Eagle community forward. This has been the Eagle Exchange. Thank you for listening, and as always, Eagle Pride Amplified.